Olá, bem-vindos a mais uma aula. Na aula de hoje nós vamos falar sobre amounts and comparisons. Então, quantifiers, que são essas expressões que a gente pode usar para contar porcentagens, maiorias, minorias. Nós vamos ver algumas dessas expressões, alguns desses quantifiers e ver como usá-los corretamente, ok? So, a aula vai ser em inglês. Se eu sentir alguma necessidade de falar português para esclarecer algum vocabulário no meio do caminho, eu vou usar o português, tá bom? Mas, a princípio, a aula vai ser somente em inglês. Okay, let's go. Let's start with this text. So we're going to be working with this text that you guys have here. And you can see that the quantifiers are in bold and pink, okay? So let's read this together. A little over a quarter of identity crime, 27%, involves government documents or benefits. This is fraud, where someone pretends to be someone else in order to illegally receive money, such as healthcare payments or a pension from the government. About half as many cases, 14%, are credit card fraud. In these instances, the identity thief usually uses stolen documents to obtain a credit card in someone else's name. The theft is usually caught when the first bill arrives, but the money is already spent and usually the thief simply disappears. Phone or utilities fraud occurs at about the same rate as credit card fraud, 13%. Employment fraud accounts for about 9% of identity theft. The rate is similar for bank fraud. A small minority of instances involve loan fraud, taking a bank loan in another person's name and then vanishing. Finally, a sizable portion of ID thefts, 26%, are in the other category. This includes social media identity theft, sending email from another person's address, and pretending to be someone else on the phone. All right, so if you have a hard time concentrating when someone else is reading, I would tell you to pause the video and read the text one more time, silently or out loud, but by yourself, okay? So you can really understand what is being said. But we have here these quantifiers that are highlighted, right? We have a little over, in this case, a quarter, right? A little over a quarter. It could be half, for example, a little over half or a little over a third. We have about the same as, similar, a small minority of, and a sizable portion of. So I want you guys to take a look at and study the sentences in which these quantifiers appear. So a little over a quarter of identity crime involves government documents or benefits. About half as many cases are credit card fraud, etc. Okay, but my first question to you is, which of these two quantifiers, which of these quantifiers, the answer are two, right? Which two quantifiers are used with fractions and percentages? So, what do you guys think? The answer is this. A little over a quarter. Quarter is a fraction, right? And about half, as many cases, half is also a fraction. But you can say a little over, because you have the percentage here, right? So you could say a little over 27%, about 14%. So you could skip this part here just to say the percentage after the expression. That's okay. All right, now which expression, only one, which expression refers to an especially large amount and which one refers to an especially small amount? What do you guys think? So especially large amount and especially small amount. We have a small minority of and a sizable portion of. So what is sizable, right? A sizable portion would be like a considerable portion, right? Uma porção considerável, right? Sizable is a synonym of considerable in the sense that is a lot, okay? So a sizable portion of, uma boa quantia, okay? And a small minority, it's in the name, right? A small minority, okay? So which expression refers to especially large, especially small amount, a sizable portion of, a small minority of. Let's go back to the text. Which two expressions, again, are used when there is very little difference between two amounts? So we have two expressions here that we use to talk about to talk about two amounts that don't have a lot of difference between them. We have similar, and this is a comparison, right? We are comparing two amounts, and in this case, there is no difference. There are just a little difference between the two amounts, but it is a comparison all the same. So we have similar, and we have about the same as. So about the same rate as, okay? Or about the same number as. You can change this word, it doesn't matter, the expression is about the same as. Okay? Next question, we have a minority, right? A small minority, a minority of, and a sizable portion of. That's the two expressions we talked about for a big and a small quantity, right? Are these expressions used with singular or with plural verbs? Take a look. What do you guys think? So a small minority of instances involve. A small minority involve. Is this verb plural or singular? A sizable portion of ID thefts, are singular or plural. So these verbs, they are plural verbs, okay? If they were, how do I know if it's plural or singular? If they were singular verbs, it would be involves, right? Here it would be involves with an as at the end. And here it would be is, not are. Okay, so these verbs are plural verbs, which means that you can think of them as a they. Okay. All right. Now let's do 3 exercises to practice a little bit what we just saw. Okay. In this first one, you have sentences that were split in half, and I want you guys to match the parts of the sentences, okay? The 2 parts of the sentences. You know what to do. Pause the video, try to do it by yourself, and then I will come with the correction. So how can we start this exercise? I have no idea where to start. How can we start? Let's see what we can match and what we can't. Okay, so for example, Here we have a large amount of, a small portion of, and that's it. So 1 and 2, they can be matched with letter A, a small portion of. Does it make sense to say a large amount or a small portion of number? It doesn't, so not B. A small portion of as many teachers as, no. Patients today, as, we have as here. So this is a comparison, it doesn't match. Of, again, a large amount of, it doesn't match here. My friends speak English, so A or F. A large amount of my friends speak English, or a large amount of my salary goes into a retirement plan. Grammatically speaking, it could be both, okay? But let's think about a large amount of my salary goes into a retirement plan. It doesn't really make sense, right? So if you think about the meaning, it doesn't make sense. It makes sense to say that a small portion of my salary goes into a retirement plan, and a large amount of my friends speak English. Okay? Where are our comparisons? As many teachers as students, and patients today as he had yesterday. Here we have patients and we have a doctor here, so we know that 6 is D, okay? The doctor had half as many patients today as he had yesterday. Makes sense. And as many teachers as students. Here, twice. There were twice as many teachers as students. Okay? So, twice as many teachers as students. So, o dobro, twice as many, o dobro, ok? O dobro de professores, né, comparado a alunos, né? Tinha mais professores do que alunos. E aqui, the doctor had metade, half as many, metade, half as many patients today as he had yesterday. So, today, hoje ele teve metade dos pacientes que ele teve ontem, ok? So, twice as many, o dobro, half as many, metade. Okay, now we have a handful and a considerable. So, a considerable, a gente tem, okay, so we have 4, 5, B, and E. Let's take a look at E, because we have E starts with of money. Of money was stolen last night. It doesn't make sense to say a considerable of money. A considerable is a considerable amount, a considerable number, okay? A considerable of doesn't exist. So a handful of money was stolen last night, and a considerable number of our students. Okay? That's it. That was our first exercise. Let's go to the next one. Here. Complete the sentences with these expressions. So we have majority, none, 0, percent, portion, quarter, and similar. Try to do, like I said, like look for the comparisons. What's the easiest part? What's the easiest sentence that you can start with, and then you leave the others to do later. Okay, if you need to do this, right? So pause the video, try to do the exercise, and I'll give you the correction in a second. All right, so nearly 50. Nearly 50 what? 50 majority, 50 none, 50 portion. No, 50%. Okay, so 50%, this is number 1. This is a number 1, guys. Nearly 50% of Mr. Smith's personal wealth was stolen. The vast is an expression that you can match with majority or minority. In this case, we have majority. So the vast majority of internet users share some financial details online. A grande maioria, the vast majority. A small portion. A small portion of local police time is spent investigating online crime. Virtually none. Virtually none means almost zero, quasi nada, okay? Virtually none of the information that was stolen was password protected. This year's income was similar to, okay? This is comparing last year's. A little over a quarter, pouco mais de quarto, right? A little over a quarter of my work time is spent writing emails. Okay? Very good. So let's go to the last one, the last exercise we have for today. This is my favorite. This is always my favorite. Correct the mistake in each sentence. So this is usually the most challenging exercise for students, right? To correct the mistakes, because you have to look for the mistakes, and to look for the mistakes, you have to know what you're talking about, right? So this is the most challenging type of exercise. But let's see here. Nearly 3/4 of the applications included false information. This is plural, applications, right? So nearly 3/4. It doesn't make sense to say 3/4, right? Because it makes sense to say 1/4, because quarter is um quarto, right? So 1/4 is just one portion, right? 1/4. From the moment you have more than one, it has to be quarters. So 3/4 of the applications. A great deal fraud. There's something missing here. A great deal of fraud is conducted across international borders. Okay? There were twice number of reported cases this year. There were twice the number. Twice the number of reported cases this year. This month's crime figures are similar to last month's. Similar to, okay? Similar is always to. This is similar to. It's not similar of, it's not similar any other preposition. It's similar to, okay? The same way as different is different from. This is similar to this. This is different from this, okay? So similar to, different from. A handful of passports were stolen. A handful of passports were, right? A handful of passports were stolen in February. And how do I know if a handful of passports is plural, or it's a plural or a singular verb. Passports is plural, right? So the verb is going to collocate, it's going to follow the noun, and the noun is plural. So passports were. If this was singular, let's say music. Music is an uncountable noun, so it's singular. So a handful of music was. A handful of music was produced, okay? But if the noun is plural, the verb has to be plural. We had half as many cases. Half as many cases is plural of credit card fraud reported as usual for this time of year. Okay, half as many cases, half as many purses, half as many passports. Okay, that's it. That's all for today. I hope you guys like this class. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments, and I will see you next time in our next class. Bye bye.